Big Bob was a big man. He was probably 6'3", 6'4", weighed about 275, 295. He was sort of a free spirit. He kind of did what he wanted to do, but he never met a stranger. Never met a stranger. Always friendly to everybody.
Big Bob Gibson started selling barbecue in 1925, but he started in his backyard. He would get off from working all week as a railroad worker, and he would cook barbecue, and he got to be so popular, the crowd started growing and growing and growing, and his picnic table turned into just a huge table lined up. The people would come over every weekend, and he would sell barbecue.
When he first started cooking, he was cooking on a pit in the ground, and then went from that to an old-fashioned flat grate pit built up off the ground. But the way he served the people that came out to eat, he would actually nail boards on the sides of trees to make like a little table. And after he gave them the food, that's what they would prop up on to eat. Now, you know, remember, we're talking about in the mid-20s, years and years and years ago. Back then, he lived out in the country on a dirt road. But folks would drive out there, get his barbecue, and it became so popular, he quit his job with L&M Railroad. Opened a restaurant, was there about 2 or 3 years. He was sort of a mover, my grandfather was. He didn't want to stay in one place a long time. So he was in several different locations in Decatur, maybe 4 or 5 or 6, from the 30, 32 to like 1940. Then he came here to this location where we are now in 1952. The restaurant beside the restaurant we're in now, he opened that up. He was there maybe 6 months, so my mother went to him and approached him. She said, "I'm gonna make you a proposition. I'll go in business with you if you'll give me half the business, and I'll give you free reins to do whatever you want to do. You can fish, you can leave, you can just, whatever you want to do. You can come and go as you please." So that attracted him, because he was, like I said, a guy who liked to move around a lot. So that's how my mother went in business with my grandfather.
Big Bob Gibson Barbecue is still a family-run restaurant. My wife's great-grandfather was Big Bob Gibson. And for me coming in here, it's always been just a super tradition with a fantastic name. You know, when I was growing up, it's always, you know, go to Decatur, get some Big Bob Gibson barbecue. And now I'm a part of that, upholding that tradition. That's why it's so special to me. The authentic barbecue, you know, goes back to cooking low and slow and cooking with real wood and real coals. When you come to Alabama, we cook with hickory. Why? Because that's what we have. We don't import mesquite, or we don't go out and gather apple wood. We have hickory, and that's what we cook with. We have pork. That's what we cook. Pork and hickory. That's North Alabama barbecue. Here we do low, slow cooking of our barbecue pork shoulder. We pull it right off the pit, and that's how we serve it. We feel like our pork is as good off the pit as you can get anywhere in the world. Obviously, other people feel that way, or Big Bob Gibson wouldn't be here after 80 years.
When Big Bob, my grandfather, opened his restaurant in 1952 next door, he had a new sign made. And that new sign was kind of unique. Had a pig on it. The pig had a knife in his hand, and he had it designed so that the pig would be chopping meat with the knife, and his feet would be dancing at the same time. And we had that sign for years and years and years. When we built this building in 1987, the city had a new sign ordinance. So we put our sign up out front. We could no longer let that pig dance, and we could no longer let it cut barbecue. It's the same sign, except the feet don't move, the knife doesn't move. Well, it wasn't cutting with another pig, it was just like cutting on a chopping board. Well, I guess he would be cutting a pig up, wouldn't it? Because that's why he was chopping, it was a pig, yeah. You know, when you think about that, that's not too good, is it? Well, it's kind of eye-catching anyway. Most places you go and you eat at a barbecue restaurant, you ask for sauce, they're going to give you a thin vinegar-based sauce, or in the Carolinas maybe a mustard sauce or a tomato-based sauce in Texas or Kansas City. Here in North Alabama, this region is famous for barbecue white sauce. Now you may wonder, how did white sauce come about? My grandfather, Bob Gibson, actually invented that in the late 20s and started cooking his chickens with it. And I think that's why his barbecue restaurant became so popular with everybody. He had something a little bit different, something that appealed to folks. Now though, anywhere you go in North Alabama, you can get white sauce. And one reason for that, back then you didn't keep secrets from anybody. We do now, but you didn't then. But people that grow up with it love it. We have kids that come in here that put it on potato chips, they put it on bread. But the main thing it's used for, of course, is our chicken. We cook our chickens, a whole chicken, cut down the middle and lay flat on the pit. Every chicken that we cook, after it's done, we stick a fork in it, take it up, and then we baptize it in white sauce. And that's what makes it taste so good. I'm going to tell you a little bit again about Big Bob Gibson. When he started his business, the only sauces he had was a white sauce that we talked about and a thin vinegar sauce. And for years and years, that's all he used, that's all my parents used.
Our customers would come in and insist on having a thick, sweet, traditional tomato-based red sauce.
So Chris and I, he was involved in the business at this time too, started working on a recipe. I'd make one and try to get it real good, and I'd give that recipe to Chris. Well, then he'd try to beat me, and he was pretty good at that.
He would make one, send a sample and a recipe to me. When I thought I bettered it, I would send him a sample of my sauce and a recipe back to him.
We did this for maybe 6 months, 9 months, and we had won our first trip to Memphis in May. So Carolyn said, Don, you've got to make a decision which sauce you're going to use up there. So Chris and I took his last recipe, my last recipe, and we combined them and made it one sauce. And we took that to Memphis, entered that in the sauce contest, and won first place with sauce.
It was that instant that Carolyn, Don's wife, said, that's it, no more sauce making. You're making that sauce.
And so we started bottling it, and we sell it in grocery stores. And it's the same sauce that we're using right now.
Lunchtime at Big Bob Gibson Barbecue is a time where all your locals come to see what's happening, to see old friends, to see old family. You know, Big Bob Gibson has been around for so long here in Decatur, Alabama, that it's tradition. It's more than a restaurant. It's where people come to see people they haven't seen in a long time. When they come back in town to visit, they see old family, see friends. It's a great place to come reunite.
It's kind of a focal point for folks to meet and have lunch. We usually jam-packed at lunch. Politicians are here, judges are here, lawyers are here, common everyday folks are here. But it's a gathering place where they can meet and talk politics or whatever they want to do. The news people know that we have these kind of people that come, so if they want to get a news story, they'll show up and interview somebody, and we're happy to have them here because really it helps our business. Here at Bob Gibson's, we make fresh homemade pies every morning.
We have ladies that come in every morning at 5 a.m. That's all they do. They cook pies for the day, and that is every day, fresh pies.
The pies that we make here at Gibson's are truly homemade pies. A lot of folks say they have pies, but they buy them from U.S. Food Service or Cisco or somewhere. Our pie ladies come in at 5 o'clock in the morning every day and make our pies from scratch. They have a pot, they mix it up, they stir it up, heat it up, pour it out, put the meringue on it. We usually make between 100 and 125 pies a day. Now there are special times that we sell a lot of pies. Thanksgiving, we make about 750 pies that one day. My pie ladies come in at 8 o'clock the night before, cook all night long up until about 10 o'clock the next day, and we'll sell out of pies that day. But again, that's an unusual day.
We've been very fortunate cooking barbecue in competitions. We won 6 World Barbecue Championships with our pork shoulder at the Memphis in May World Barbecue Championship. That is the largest pork barbecue competition in the world. It's sometimes called the Super Bowl of swine. Also, we've won World Championship in ribs at the Houston Livestock and Rodeo Show. Our pork has won a World Championship at the Jack Daniel's World Barbecue Cook-Off. We have won the Invitational at the American Royal International Barbecue Cook-Off, the largest barbecue competition in the world. We are the current Jamaican barbecue champions. Myself and my wife flew down to Jamaica and cooked barbecue on 55-gallon drums. It's not necessarily what you cook on, but it's knowing how to cook barbecue. That's the important thing.
So all those things has enhanced our restaurant business. We have people coming in now with us because they've heard about us. But now what we do here at the restaurant hasn't really changed. We still cook the same way we used to. We cook on flat, great, old-fashioned brick pits, the firebox in the front. We still cook with hickory wood. If you look at that wood pile out back, sometimes we have as much as 50 cords of wood out there. You know, our reputation has changed a little bit, but to the people in Decatur, we're still just Big Bob Gibson Barbecue, just as they've always known us. I think they're proud of what we've accomplished, but to them, we're still just a barbecue restaurant.